Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady. Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Powder Room session. This is episode 6. I can't believe it. We just started. I'm already counting and hitting episode 6. First of all, apologies that we're coming in a bit late tonight, but we're here and we're good and we're ready to go. And just before we kick off properly into what we're talking about today, Powder Room, if you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome. And if you've been with us through our past 5 episodes or either one of them, then welcome back. Powder Room is where the realest talk happens. And just as a normal intro, the Powder Room is a private space in a public place where you can get to let your hair down, have honest conversation, gain on common sense, and then put yourself back together again to face the world with tact, truth, and tenacity. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Cara, the wordsmith. I'm not the only person here. I'll be introducing the rest of my sisters. We're just 5 friends, and we've known each other for almost, donkey years. I think the earliest person I know from this group was when we were in children's church way back then. And it's so amazing to still be with her today. So, see the strategist. Welcome to Powder Room.
Hey, Cara, my friend from 19th Reading. Hello, everyone watching. Good to be here. Let me welcome Casey, the realist.
Hello, everyone.
Is that all you have to say? Hello, everyone. All right, Casey the realist, C the strategist. We have Ada the sage.
Hi, everyone. Hi, sisters. Good to see you all again. We hope our viewers have fun today and, are able to take up something away from the lessons we'll be sharing today. It's going to be really interesting. And Prof should be somewhere around. Ruthie.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be back in the Powder Room. I hope you're going to enjoy today. We're going to be sharing stories. Just listen and stay glued to your seats and you'll hear a lot.
Thank you so much. So that's it. That's the family that you've met. Casey, the wordsmith, Okara, the wordsmith, Casey, the realist,
The realist.
And and then Pro, the prof, and of course, C, the strategist. And today's topic, we're talking about a note to our younger self. It's a journey of retrospect. Many times we're so busy, we don't have the time to look back. But today we're going to actually be looking back. What choices did we make? Which ones were right and which ones were wrong? What could we have done, better? What lessons did we learn? And how many of us got burnt? So we're going to talk a bit about that. It should be quite interesting. And here's what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is to show you a few of our pictures, and then you get to listen to the letters we wrote to our younger selves. And then after that, ladies, I'm coming back and I'm going to actually listen to your letters, and I'm going to pick one question, at least one for either one of you. So please get ready. And I hope you guys are ready. And please feel free to join the conversation. You know how it is. We might be the faces in the powder room, but you guys are the voices in the powder room. Please feel free to drop a comment on the chat room, either on Facebook or on YouTube. And should you want to send us an email, it's hello@powderroom.com.ng. I said powder room, so that's 2 hours. hello@powderroom.com.ng. Now, the very first letter I will be playing, wait for it, is the prof's letter. So let's get ready for the prof's letter.
Notes to my younger self from Ruthie, the prof.
Dear Ruthie, age 0 to 7, welcome to the world. I know you don't feel like it, but you're a special girl. You don't find it hard to believe that you are special because of the way mommy and daddy dote on you. My giantess, daddy calls you, but you feel more like how everyone else sees you, a tomboy. Don't worry, you're still an original, and God loves you just the way He made you. When you reconnect with and stay connected to your source, your self-image will be replenished. As you embrace every lesson that is meant to build your character, you will learn how to make the right choices. Dear Ruthie, age 8 to 14. You're older now and your curiosity is strong. You are shy and withdrawn, but you love to read books and learn new things. You have read everything with words in the house, including all the volumes of Daddy's Encyclopedia Britannica. Your hunger for knowledge is in place. But as you gain knowledge, don't isolate yourself too much. Seek understanding and proper counsel from others so you can make sound judgment. Apply your knowledge accordingly and grow in wisdom. If you want to grow both in wisdom and knowledge, learn to ask the right questions and above all, get to know the one who has all the right answers. Dear Ruthie, age 15 to 21. It's rough these days. Your body is changing, your focus is shifting, and your mind is blowing up with confusing thoughts. Your hormones are roaring and the boundaries are stifling. So you have found ways to break them, like covering party clothes under long skirts to attend parties. Sounds like being smart, right? Just be careful. It is smarter to respect boundaries than to violate them. Guard your heart diligently, but note that guarding your heart does not mean shutting everything out. Take your time to know who and what to let in, as well as who and what to keep out. Dear Ruthie, age 22 to 28. Life has never been more beautiful, right? With all the attention you're getting from men, be careful not to lose focus. Maintain a balance between emotion and reason by letting your reason rule your emotions and your emotions warm your reason. Your heart and mind have been put to the test with the recent breakup. Your hopes and dreams have turned into disappointment and a cruel nightmare. Hang in there. The sun will soon shine again and you wake up to a new dawn. You have been through a tough ordeal, but as long as you stick to God's ideal for life, you will be fine. Dear Ruthie, age 29 to 35. Marriage before maturity is like putting the cart before the horse. we just learned. So it's good that you waited a little longer to get here. You are better prepared for the challenges and also the rewards. Now you know that love and romance is not enough if there isn't a solid foundation of faithfulness grounded on principles and tempered by covenant. Don't be intimidated by anyone or anything. Be bold, be strong, and be confident. Get a grip on the life of God in you, the worth He has placed on you, and the assignment He has called you to do, and you will lose all fear. Nothing that has the life of God in it ever dies. Like a seed, it may die, but soon enough, it will live again. This is all I've got to write to you today until I get to write to you again. Lots of love, sugar and spice from Ruthie the Prof.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ruthie the Prof. We're going to the very next one. Very, very, very deep letter. I started laughing when I saw your wedding day. Those yellow flowers, I can't imagine how many yellow flowers we all had to collect. So you just brought back memories. Thank you so much, Ruthie. We'll get back to you very soon when it's time to ask some really interesting questions. And the next person whose letter I'm going to be playing is KC the Realist. KC the Realist. Here we go.
Dear Casey, born into welcome arms, first to come to a loving couple, loved so much by Daddy, you went practically everywhere with him. Remember when Daddy asked you to greet a policeman at 3, climbing the couch, looking him in the eye, and asking him how he was? Oh, how that formed you. Bold, yet full of care enough to always ask another how they are doing, irrespective of whether they are old or young. God obviously had so much in stock for you. Little wonder He sent an emissary of the Assemblies of God Church after you. Those times you ran home after church so you can quickly share your memory verse with Daddy, just because you were too young to even write. I guess it made Father God fall so much in love with you. Oh, you were so lovable. Learning your tonic sulfurs daily was a great habit your daddy made you cultivate. Why did you leave it when you were grown enough to now understand it? Well, being an inspiration at an early age, NTA 2, Channel 5, NTA 10 was a great one. You were made for the arts. You were made for the screens. Also, I guess your multiple talents and your nurturing, which enabled you turn them to skills, confused your parents, tutors and guardians. From maths to dancing, you covered the spectrum, aiming to become a doctor. Or isn't that what all smart kids become? You allowed the Nigerian education system confuse you. Even when you got into medical laboratory science, you could have continued the pursuit of being a doctor. You could have achieved it. I also think it's your knack for difficult things that made you follow that choice. Or really, are you wired to be a doctor? Taking things easy passes off as weakness or even being a low life to you. Yeah, I caught you right there. That was it. That was why, despite your flair to care and give people, especially women, a part of your confidence, which you could have expressed through a beauty shop, was almost buried. What about singing? Is that all I will do with this brain? You will always say. Well, it was good love found you. I thought you would have been distracted, but you maximized pregnancy and nursing seasons, developing your mind. Kudos to you. Kudos. The uncommon wisdom of turning the negatives in your life to lessons learned is so commendable. Rather than speak of regrets, you speak of life lessons learned. Promise me you will deploy all talents you have schooled. Promise me you will ensure that you live a life of impact and that you will achieve enormous commercial value with all the brands you are destined to birth. In conclusion, as you journey on in life, remember there are no limits except the ones you place. Embrace God like you have always done and walk only in the path He illuminates Himself. Your present self, Casey.
Wow. I know. I feel like clapping, Ada. Wow, 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 wow. There's, the gift, retrospect is a gift. The ability to actually look back and be lucid about the points, the things you did right, the things you didn't get right. That is actually a gift. Thank you very much, Ruth, the prof, and Casey, the strategist. The next one, Casey, the realist. The next one is mine. I'll be playing mine. So yeah, let me go ahead and do that.
Dear Karachi, nothing can be more challenging than all you have been through from the age of 2, having to battle polio and everything.
Dealing with depression every day, from the way people would stare at you and nobody wanting you in their birthday parties because you were depressed. You battled all this till you found Jesus on your sitting room couch when Uncle Emeka visited from Children's Church and said those magic words.
Jesus loves you just the way you are.
Eureka! You didn't have to apologize to Jesus for the limp. He never stared at you funny. No, Karachi, you never have to apologize for the things God permits to come your way. No. You didn't have to please people so they will accept you and make you feel like you fit in. You fit in, my love, just because you are you. People pleasing is anti-God pleasing. Dance and live happy for the audience of one, even if that dance is lopsided. I'm so glad that you learned to give at an early age. You gave of your time, smiles, hugs, letters, love, and more. You just needed everyone to be okay. You cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days, they have found me. Thank you for being a doer, not a listener. It's still in vogue. I wish you spent less time bullying yourself in your head whilst walking around feeling the world owes you help. Nobody owes you anything. You soon realize that people wouldn't help you fetch water just because you can't carry a bucket, so you learned to give as much as you were getting. There is no excuse, no sob story good enough to justify being a leech. Always give more, or at least as good as you get. Money, money, money. You were a wise girl and stuck to your dad's admonition of never borrowing. Rather, you lived off 50% of your income at every stage of your life. You saved and lived simply. So much so that till today, my husband drags me away from cheap stores to more high-end shops, and I go kicking and screaming all the way. As for heartbreak, I will use Pastor Sarah's words to you. Waro gubu. Respect yourself and move on. Save your tears for the pillow and get your closure with God. Give your pity parties an expiration date and stick to it. Never beg to be loved. The right man who will not make you wonder how much you mean to him will definitely come along. Never sell yourself short when making a choice of a life partner. Did you hear those words? Life partner. You are in it for life. In relationships, he must be born again is no longer the only criteria.
But you didn't find them on time, Karachi. You didn't take adventures into who you were and know what you needed. Those criteria were under your wish list. No, they should have been sitting up front row with the rest of them. Boys in church are not the same as Christ in heart. Your biggest win was seeking and following God's whispers and also building a relationship with Him. Cry, cry, baby. But this meant you were always on His laps and whispering in His ears. This led you to teaching, and look what we've made of it. So yes, I'm older and wiser than you, but the leg pains are still here, and we both are still workaholics. I'm still not the top of the class academically, but all the things we have accomplished. So this is cheers to you, with all your scrapes, bumps, plasters, and stitches. Now, I love you. Karachi.
So we're advancing, we're going on. Thank you for clapping, Ada. Better person. All right, so we're going to move on to the next to the next one. And next I'm going to be playing Ada's voice letter to herself. All right, so yeah, Ada, this is yours.
Dear Ada, today I am writing you a short letter from a vantage position, a position of hindsight. Only God Almighty has this privilege, together with foresight. So you can understand how I remember the yesteryears so vividly. The innocence, purity, zest for life, sparkle, and hope, and ultimately, the sheer wonder of what the future holds. Those dreams are valid. Hold on to them. Here are a few things I will say to you amidst the dozens more. 1. Run your race. Life is per head. It's not a collective journey. You are uniquely designed, and so will be your experiences. Trust that you are where you are meant to be per time. Don't desire the life of other people because it's both the good and the bad you actually wish to yourself. Remember that song, On the mountain, valley or sea, the Lord is my portion? It is true. You have a guaranteed portion on earth. Like the earth's seasons, so is yours. Use your spring and summer wisely because winter is coming. 2. Mommy was right. Thank God you trusted her advice and took the beatings on the back in its strides. Your first boyfriend is not going to be your husband, so don't do today what you'll regret tomorrow. So true. Thankfully, you did not need to learn from experience. Never ever buy an expensive car or luxury item when you do not own a house. The financial rest you have now is built on this singular advice. Be a silent achiever. Let people underestimate you, only to be shocked when they come close. It will earn you tremendous respect. Remember, ihe ọma adịghị agwụ agwụ. Beautiful things never finish. No rush. Today's trend is tomorrow's obsolete. 3. Marry the friend you need and not the one you want. Needs and wants are two different paradigms. The man you need will always come like a dirty diamond. You too. He will not bow to your whims and caprices, but will firmly and lovingly unearth the treasure in you. By the way, what God promised to give us are our needs and not wants. The day you get married is the day you realize that there was no hurry in the first place. So choose wisely. There are dark clouds gathering in the days ahead. You need deep roots in Christ to carry you through. Secondly, Goodwill is the greatest capital you possess. It is the sum total of favors people owe you. Build it, because winter is coming and you will need to draw on it. Forgiveness is the greatest demonstration of freedom. Remember, Mom always says, Obinale. She's right. Don't underestimate the capacity of the heart to endure pain and sorrow. You will have happy days again. This is the promise of Christ, that no matter what comes your way, there will always be joy in the morning. Till I write you again, love, your older self.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ada, for sharing that. Wow, what an evening. Don't mind my voice. You know, I've already said I'm a cry baby, so if my voice gets all shaky, you guys will understand. I've already said it in my voice note. So the last letter we're going to listen to tonight is from C, the strategist.
Dear younger Chinwe, there's so much to say to you from a place of abundant gratitude, minor regret. Dear younger Chinwe, there's just a few months to the so much to say to you from a place of abundant gratitude. I still wonder why anyone came up with that idea. Our life is not just about to begin. Chinwaku means God has wealth. I am such a Chinwaku means God has wealth. Such a prophetic name. Cherish it. Declare it. Knowing that wealth is beyond money and material things. Darling Chinwe, it was a great decision you took when you gave your life to Christ at Christ Chapel International Church, CCIC, which started in your primary school in Surulere, Lagos. You should also remain thankful that you started singing in church so early. Remember your nickname in Christ Chapel? Melody, named after the young star singer in Kids Praise. Do develop your singing gift and use it to God's glory. When you get to secondary school, note that if your self-esteem is damaged at that stage of your life, it may be difficult to recover. Guard your heart, love yourself the way God loves you, choose the right friends. You're multi-talented and an extrovert. What a combination. It is easy to get distracted, so please do not. It may be a struggle to choose a career because as a talker, you may be drawn between being a lawyer and a media practitioner. I assure you that you'll be great at whichever you choose. However, you should consider being a lawyer. When you get to the university, you will face major temptations. Lecturers will ask for bribes. Guys will be on your case to date them. There will be many invitations to crazy parties. Do not succumb to them. And you'll look back at those years and be grateful that you made the right choices. The corporate world is quite an interesting place you'll discover. You need to cultivate strong personal values, amongst other things, to thrive in that space. Write down these words and do cultivate them prayerfully. Agility, resilience, team spirit, patience, kindness, focus, contentment, emotional intelligence, technical competence, leadership, The list continues in another note. You have such a beautiful smile. Don't lose it, even when people tell you that you should tone it down. It seems like your husband would rate it as his top attraction. Regarding choosing a life partner, you will hear many opinions, ideologies, and stories. You've got to trust God and obey Him. Trust God and obey Him. Let Him guide you. You will hear horror stories. Fret not. You may have challenges. You won't be the only one. You will enjoy motherhood and sometimes wonder if you're good at it. Don't judge yourself unnecessarily and trust God to perfect all that concerns you. Your health and finances do not take for granted at all. There are time-tested principles you must not ignore. Mind in the beginning what matters at the end, Chinwe. Most of all, God will bring you certain friends into your life. There are few of them you must hold on to for life. They will be your tribe, your support system, the divine sisterhood that is in no way common. You are blessed and highly favored, darling Chinwe. Love you much, signed from your older self.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I choose to think I was one of the friends that you were speaking of at the end, towards the end over there. I better be.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Sorry, what did you say?
I said, of course, Karachi, of course. All of you in the powder room.
Please, very important. Tribe for life. I liked when you said that. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank every single one of you for sharing that letter. These are normally things that people write and keep to themselves. But you know, if you're going to impact and change lives, there are times when you need to come out and share a few of those personal stories. But there's some things that I heard you people talk about in your letter. And just like I rightly said, I just want to dig in a little, if you will please permit me. Do I have permission to dig in a little more?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Yes, you do. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be asking questions, and maybe I'll start just the way I played the videos. So Ruthie, Professor, you talked about puberty, and that's a really dicey age for any lady. And you said how it was an emotional phase for you. That really sparked my interest. Are there any stories from that stage that, you know, has inspired you and turned you into who you are now, particularly as an author and a mentor for young ladies? You wrote the book Sugar and Spice, which has been making the rounds all over the country. So is that an ode to the emotional phase? What exactly happened there? Please share something.
Okay, first of all, like I said earlier, you know, in the first note, I was a tomboy. And so, you know, I had this kind of conflict with, you know, expressing myself. And there was this like trying to restrain myself. And at the same time, you know, wanting also to express myself. So there was this confusion as a child that escalated when I became an adolescent. And, you know, one of the things that really put me off was that I was a late bloomer. So I was like 13, 14, and everybody around me, I just stood out kind of, because I was looking like maybe like an 8 or 9 year old in the midst of, you know, people that, you know, my friends that had, you know, bloomed and everything. So I had a good foundation. I had love from my parents doted on me. We had a good home. But, you know, when adolescent came, it's one of the things I wrote about. The new kids on the block, you know, wanting to please another set of people, you know, it came on me, you know, where your clique or your peers become the people who matter most. So there was this conflict and struggle as to what I should hold on. I had a struggle spiritually, you know, I had to look back and say, should I continue in the path that I have been taught, or, you know, should I make? So I talked about choices, I talked about struggles, I talked about different things. But I had all that. And after a while, I was able to cross that stage, because some of the things my mommy said was, don't worry, you're a late bloomer, but at a point, don't worry. But also, it doesn't matter who gets there first, we'll all get there. So things like that. And I was able to manage all that. And when I now got hormones, I talked about hormones blowing all over the place. I had that conflict as well when it came to boys and all that. Your peers are telling you have to be all there, you have to have a boyfriend. And I didn't see the need to. I remember one particular situation where someone asked me out, and I was like, what are we going to be doing as boyfriend and girlfriend? That was my question. And it was a bit funny to him, but I said that I didn't know where it came from, because I was just all over the place, kind of. I was confused a lot. Sometimes I would just want to yield. And I had some times where, I had a lot of conflict. There was generally conflict, making choices, making up my mind who to follow and what to make my value system. And when I crossed that stage, I looked back and I said, I'm going to do my best to make sure that I help people navigate this journey. So that's why I began to mentor girls. That's even why I wrote the book, because there's so much struggle, there's so much confusion. But if people know how to navigate that stage, it's easier for you to cope, because you know that this will be over, or it's expected. You know what is expected. And then you're able to handle whatever comes to you and make the right decisions, so you don't blow that stage or make permanent decisions, decisions that will cause permanent problems in your life. So that's basically, I think that was the point. That was the deciding factor, that adolescent age, as to what I'm going to do, how I'm going to, help people, use my experience to help people. So that's basically one of the stories behind my notes.
Wow.
Let me let others talk.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ruth. Something you said that struck me, temporary or short-term decisions that have permanent implications. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Casey, realist, coming to you. When you were talking about, reading out your letter, you sort of alluded to the fact that you may have wanted to make better choices regarding your life path. Can you speak a little bit about that, and maybe just share with us what's the one thing you think you would have done differently?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Kara. So one thing I could have done differently is that, if you had set out from secondary school, this thing about, when a child is smart, the child is a science student, okay? And then you found your way into the university. If I knew what I know now, the ability to stick through, there's a goal. You follow through that goal, not settling, for anything else, right? I would have still gone on, to say, okay, you know what, this medicine, let's read it through. If it means probably spending 3 more years in school, 4 more years in school, I could have still achieved it. And the truth is, if I had done that 3 years, 4 years after, it meant so much, it may not have meant so much. And I still see young people today trying to do that. It's beautiful to say that you probably come out from school at a particular time. But if there's something your heart is set, to do, to achieve, you go all in for it without the consideration of age. And, for goodness sake, I was pretty young. By 16, I was already in the university. I was pretty young. So what was the rush for, not hitting my target? I don't know if that English makes sense. But also the truth is, like I also read out in that note, again, looking back now, I also asked myself, would I really have made a good doctor. But the point also is that there's nothing we set our hearts to do that we won't be able to do. I see people also say things like, this is who I'm supposed to be. I've seen people at their final year, they begin a fresh journey. And I'm like, you can finish it. There's nothing that stops you from getting 2 degrees. Nothing stops you from getting 3. Nothing stops you from gaining knowledge, in a vast array of areas. So yes, I believe that if I knew what I know now, I could have stuck through, finish it. It doesn't stop me from being who else I want to be. It doesn't still stop me from pursuing those things that I felt probably would have been me. And then, like I also mentioned there, some of the things that come easy. And the truth is, some of the things that come easy for us, God-given talents, God-given abilities, many times we tend to despise them. Okay, so you're very good at talking, and everybody's you're talkative, keep quiet, go and sit down. You sing well, and you're like, so singing, is that it? I'll just be jumping up and down the stage. You cook well, you despise it. You're able to, you touch something, you touch a piece of rag, and it turns to something interesting. That's something else I've also learned. To say that everything God has given you is your God-given capital. You can translate it into something great and then not despise it. Not say, oh, what's great about singing, or what's great about dancing, or what's great about, so in retrospect, those 2 areas. So it's a balance. I could have gone on to get it. The area of also despising some of the things that just come to you naturally. You do them and you do them so well. I can sit in front of a screen and I just speak spontaneously, but is that what, you just do? Is that all you're wired for? So I've been able to, find a balance between those. And like I said in the later part of that note, a promise to say that everything, every talent, I will die empty. Everything that God has, put in this earthen vessel, right? I will school because it's my responsibility to school it. And the ones that have also been schooled, I will deploy. It's of no use having a talent you did not develop, or probably you did not diligently ensure that you get it to the point where it is life transforming. It impacts other lives. It impacts the home. It impacts the society. It impacts the world. And of course, we also derive commercial value from it. And so it's a promise to my present self and my future self. And, God help me is the pledge. Yes.
I like that. God help me. God help me is a pledge. There's something when you talked about us despising our gifts, it just took me straight back to something that happened to me as well when I was a child. At a time when, right from Sunday school, maybe I don't know if the strategists remember this. I was always choreographing dances in church and then dancing it with my friends. And then, but for me, you know how it is. I'm a bit of a perfectionist in my head, and you can imagine when a perfectionist lives in a body that is not perfect. So there's nothing you do that makes sense. After teaching the dance, and we're doing the dance in front of the whole church, and then they will be clapping, feeling so awesome. I will always go to the toilet and cry because I felt, I could have done this better, but because of the limp, I couldn't do as much as my friends. So it always got me down. And on this particular day, Uncle Emeka caught me in the toilet where I was crying after another, choreography. And that's what actually made him visit my house. He said, you know what, I'm going to come over and I'm going to talk with you one-on-one. And he came to see me and asked me what was it, and exactly what Casey said. For me, what the issue is not the dance. I can teach dance. I can make people dance. I get it in my head, but I'm not doing it perfectly. So why would I even do it at all? It's still that same issue of despising that one thing that God has given you to do because you feel it's not done perfectly. And that's when he told me those profound words that Jesus loves and accepts you the way you are. And I never forgot it, because immediately in that second, I just saw what the problem was. I was looking at my gifts from the eyes of men and not from the eyes of God to appreciate what was good about it, you know. So that's a very heavy one. Thank you so much, Casey, for sharing that. Wow, what a night! What a night! God help. God
Can
help
I
me.
say something? You know,
Yes.
Karachi, in your notes, you said something about other children not inviting to you always depressed. I never knew a Karachi depressed child. The Karachi I remember from our Savior's Church, we used to go to Corona School, used to present box, you were. So I think a lot of things in your head because of how you used to feel. But honestly, it never came through. Because when we connected in university, we used to have our private moments. And you feel she's energetic, she's more talented. So you see the little Kara that you described, I never met her. If I don't know if we can reach out on the.
Oh, I think her internet. Hello, C. Okay, she's been cut off. I think her internet. I think I know what she was about to say. If you can find reach out, because I was a child presenter at the age of 7. I think she's back with us now, but she's still trying to get her sound back. So, so that's the funny thing. You know, people don't really look like what they're going through some of the time. You know, and I think that's part of God's grace. That's part of God's grace. Oh, C is back. C is back. So, C, you want to finish what you were saying very quickly? Okay, I don't know if she can hear me. Okay, so I guess maybe the internet is still a bit shaky. Maybe we'll come back and take her comments. But thank you so much, C. Like I said, I've known her forever. So she knows where my skeletons are hidden. So I think the next question now will be to Ada. So Ada, in your last slide, you talked about brace up, life happens. And then you told your younger self that there are sad times ahead. Can you talk more about that? What was that about? Hello, C. We'll come back to you, C. Okay, I think that's maybe a feedback. Okay, Ada, did you hear my question?
Yeah. You made mention of my last slide where I said race of life happens.
Yes.
There really wasn't any way I was going to be able to write a note, you know, without alluding to that part of my life, as unpalatable as it was. But you see, our life experiences define us, you know, and over time they form the constituents of what makes up an individual, you know. So I would just speak to that time and say that, you know, growing up, I was the only child of my parents for almost 12, 13 years. So my parents treated me like the princess I was, you know. So, for example, in my eyes, my dad had a larger than life personality. I never thought for one day that my dad was going to leave, you know. And then some other tragedies that also followed. What I'm just trying to say is no one prepares us for what to do when we lose things. Everything about our life is about how to grab, how to become, how to be. Like Casey was saying, you know, I wanted to be this, or maybe I should be this. And that's how it is. Our whole lives are pushed in the direction of be this, become this, acquire this. But there's no form of education on what to do when you lose things, you know. And so after in 2012, my dad passed away, and I thought that that was one of the worst experiences ever, up until 2018 when my first son passed away at age 8, you know. And so in that little slide, there were a lot of things that I made, I talked about. I made a mention of goodwill, and I made mention of forgiveness. Those were my two biggest takeaways from the loss of my son. When our son died, you know, it was the love of people. And I keep telling people that, you know, the presence of people in your life is like first aid when you lose something so dear to you. When your heart is hurting, when your heart is broken, it is human beings. Nobody has seen God, but the warmth and the love and the balm of God is extended through the hands of people. And so it is at that time that you now start pulling on the deposits of goodwill that you have invested. My husband and my dad also would say, never leave people on a wrong note. Always leave people on it. Let it be that people are owing you. It's better to walk away cheated than to cheat people. When you have lived your life depositing positive things in the lives of people, when you are down, they will come around. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know how my husband and I and our only other son would have pulled through that period when our son passed on. And I also talked about forgiveness being the greatest demonstration of freedom. You know, the nature of all the things that happened required that we needed to forgive, you know, the people, you know, whose negligence or whatever, you know, caused the death of this child, you know. And nobody could understand at the time when we chose to extend forgiveness. But we did embrace that family and close that chapter and walked away. Most people thought we were fools. But I know that that experience strengthened the faith of many people. In life, we only have one thing that people will remember us for. Esther was remembered because of what she did in the palace for her people. Joseph was remembered for one thing. Daniel, David. Life has defining moments. I hope you would recognize a defining moment in your life when it comes. That was a defining moment in our lives. And if all that experience was all it was meant to be, just to help someone somewhere, you know, not lose faith, I'm happy that we went through it, you know. And then, like my mom always would say, Obinali, the heart can endure. You will be surprised what your heart can endure. The heart will never burst. In Igbo, they say, there's nothing the eye will see that will make it shed blood. Bitter things might happen, and it's not your fault. Nobody tells us these things as Christians, that losses will come, that trials will come. It's not because God does not love you. The Bible said somewhere, will we say that because of dark times, hunger, pestilence, suffering, death, that Christ has forsaken us? He said, no. He said, how did he put it? He said, I am more than convinced that we are more than conquerors through Christ, and that nothing can separate us. I think that was what I was looking for, from the love of God. There is nothing that can separate us. So let us not interpret the bitter, bad, sour seasons of our lives to mean that God does not love us. God's men are made through the fire. You know, and this is me 2 years post my son's passing, and I'm still living my life, and I can see that I'm still happy. Would I have wished for a better outcome? Yes. So people think when these things happen, you forget. No, it's just that the heart moves on. And lastly, I would say, it is not time that heals wounds. It is what you do in time that actually heals those wounds. So that's my own 2 cents.
God bless
Thank
you
so much. Thank you so much, Ada. That was it.
Wow.
That was a period in our lives that we will never forget. That was a period in our lives that we'll never forget. And I think the lessons that we learned from Ada, just watching her and hearing the words that she was speaking at those times, it was not human. It was not human. It was a physical manifestation of what supernatural looks like. It wasn't normal. And I think all of us, it was a time we as a group, as a team, as a family, as a sisterhood will never forget. And Ada, thank you so much for sharing that. It's one of the difficult things to share, but hey, if you're going to do ministry, you will share from your pain. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ada. Moving on very quickly because of time. It's when I've seen your question. We're going to get to it in due season. But Chinwe, you also said something quite interesting. You talked about many temptations in university. And is there anyone in particular that you want to share with us tonight?
Karachi, okay, Ada has I don't know. God has really shown himself strong. And you know that thing I said about having this tribe? I don't know. Sorry. So I really have learned a lot from you, and your strength is something else. And this sisterhood, this sisterhood is something I would never ever take for granted, and I'm grateful to God for. So regarding my notes, Temptations University, I mean, that was the season I met all of you. And one story that comes to mind had to do with bribing a lecturer. So it was new to me. I went to Queen's College, Aba. We had very strong ethics around exams. So cheating in an exam was absolutely unheard of. And so I came to university, year one law, and there were class reps, and next thing they were going around, okay, lecturers were selling handouts and they were compulsory. That was fine. But this course I did was one of the non-law courses. And we had done the exam. It was economics. We had done the exam and results were supposed to come out. And one of the class reps went round to say, the results are available in the lecturer's office. And that if you wanted to upgrade, change your grade, you need to pay an amount. I didn't understand it, and I felt it was very weird. But apparently it was common in the university for you to pay for grades, and to cut the long story short, I went to the lecturer's office to see his result, which normally should have been published on the notice board. And I saw that he had put an F for me, and I felt that's not possible. Speaking my Lagos English, I said to the lecturer that, oh, can I see my script? Say you want to see your script, or you can just do what others are doing. I said, I'd like to see my script. I can't get F in this course. I opened it up. So it was 3 essay questions. One was for 40 marks, the other 2 were 30 marks to make 100. And he had marked only one. He just put 18 over 40, the rest, dots. Full scope. And I'm like, oh, sir, it looks like there's a mistake here. I said, there's no mistake. Go and do what your mates are doing. In fact, leave my office. So I said, sir, are you able to mark this and give me my grade? He said, if you want to apply for marking, you can write to the Senate. And then the process of writing to the Senate and getting your script marked might take you 2 years. So good luck with that. So when I left his office, of course, the class rep came to me to say, Madam, even with that, Christians are paying this guy. And the amount then was probably equivalent to like 50K now, which it wasn't, the amount wasn't the issue because we're quite a number. But I just felt that I shouldn't bribe a lecturer. And so I did not bribe the lecturer. And I was shocked when he published the results and still gave me an F. So I carried over that course. This is someone that was targeting 2-1 or first class and all that. And the gist then was once you fail the course, you can never make it 2-1. But glory to God, less than 5 years later, I came up with a 2-1. And I'm so happy that I did not bribe the lecturer. And being able to scale over that temptation, gave me strength to scale over the many more that came. Not just with lecturers, but with guys and all sorts of things. So yeah, that was one of the temptations in university, and I'm so happy that God empowered me to over that time.
Thank you so much. See the strategy. Asking the lecturer to remark your script. Is well with you. But thank you so much. No, but honestly, I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening in universities these days. And it takes boldness, more than ever before to stand your ground. So thank you for sharing that story. And thank you for not caving in. Thank you for not caving in. And if you're listening, you don't have to cave in. You can stand by what you believe and trust God to make it turn out right. I'm going to get to a question that somebody posted on YouTube, and that was Mary Ann Itwen. Hi, Mary Ann. So she said, Amaka Itwen, she said, how do you deal with limitations? Casey, I'm going to bring this question to you. She said, how do you deal with limitations before you? And is there a season for us to achieve our dreams? I guess what she's saying is there ever a season when it's too late for you to have achieved the dream that you've had for a while? What do you have to say?
Okay, thanks, Cara. Thanks, Amaka, for watching. Thanks for sending in that question. There are times and there are seasons for everything. However, what I've also come to learn in the journey of life is that the times and seasons vary from individuals, right? Our destinies are ruled by our own time and our seasons. And that's why clearly the Holy Book gives us an injunction. It says, they comparing themselves with themselves are not wise. And because we live in a world where Ada mentioned something very profound, where all we learn is almost how to, become, how to get. Success is the pursuit, It's as if there's a destination for everyone, forgetting that while success might be a destination, it is not the same for everyone. Actually, what determines your success is whatever your purpose is. And so for you, if your purpose is achieved at year 2, well, all well and good. If it's achieved at 80, all well and good. Of course, I'm sure you've heard about the story of the man, the KFC, the Kentucky Fried Chicken man, who at 60, he was in his 60s when he bettered that dream. So I did this little preamble to say that do not chase after societal timings or the world's timing, right? Ensure that at every point in time, you're maximizing your time, and then you are, working in line with your purpose. Because oftentimes anxieties, pressures, worries, disillusion, in fact, mental health. Many of the mental health issues today, 90% of the mental health issues today are not genetic. I remember when I was trying to get married and my uncle was to go and check up, the family. There were things they were talking about. Oh, do they have insanity in their family? Do they have this? Do they have that? And that is how it used to be for them. They expect those things to be either genetic or spiritual. These days, it borders more around, oh, I'm not meeting up. Oh, finances. Oh, my mates have finished getting married and I'm not married. Oh, my mates have finished having children and, and then the words will stop coming. Even when people come to advise you, they're like, hey, just try, get to where others are. You even see people write songs. They will be like, I will not be a servant to my, come on. Your destiny has no limits. So if that's what you're saying, I would say, find out what is in the heart of your maker. Follow the timing in the heart of your maker. When you follow it, you will be at peace. When you follow it, the lines will fall in place. When you follow it, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything will just fall in place. I think that's the first question. And the second question about limitations. I remember many times, this is a conversation I've had also with a dear friend, Shola Odengi. I don't know if she's watching today. And I don't know, but I think it's God. I've never seen limits. I think it starts from you. It starts from the mind. It starts from what you visualize. There's a word called optimism and then pessimism. There are certain people, everything just has to be negative. It depends on what you see, right? What do you see? What you see is what it is. If you see limits, they will be there. If you see the cup half full, then it will be half full. If you see the cup half empty, it will be half empty. What you see is what you become. When you do not see those limits, what automatically happens is that there's a way the human brain is wired. There's a way the human spirit is wired. And I keep referring to the human spirit because the truth is that is what gives your natural the ability to function and, break up limits. I must tell you that many times in the natural, you will not be able to break off limits. I can put it to you. Except there are things working for you. Maybe you were born with a silver spoon. Some of us were born with no spoon at all. Maybe you have opportunities, maybe you have connections, maybe you have a name to leverage on. Some of us leverage only on the name of Jesus and expect it to open up doors, right? So what you see many times, like I said, is what you become. And that seeing is what you put in front of you. When you put the right picture in front of you, what happens is that the mind follows through and options will be created, alternatives will be seen, what to do. And then because your spirit, your soul, your mind is not clogged up with anxiety, with pressure, with agitation, you're able to think through, you're able to go through. Will those limits be there? Oh, yes. We were not promised a life of no limits. Are you to sit down, mourn, cry, weep over them, pity party, create a party over it? No. You're not to see it, even though it's there. And then before you know it, they are succumbed. Of course, time will not permit us to begin to address this one after the other. But Tara, I really don't know why you called me. The truth is, this is something I have spoken about in different facets. And like I said, time will not permit us to say, in this area, this is exactly how to go about it. But you can drop us a note, you can drop us a message, you can slide inbox and we'll talk further. But the first thing is you won't see it. If you're not able to see it, you will walk through walls. Trust me.
Thank you so much, Casey, for that. I think you've spoken quite a bit to that. And if for any reason you want to give more details or you want to talk, and share a little more information, do send us a message. hello@powderroom.com.ng. There's a double R in Powder Room. So there's just a few more comments coming in from YouTube. Ijoma Malga is saying, I once had a lecturer that said you could pay in cash or kind. My friends and I had to say no. And we just prayed and committed it to God. Wow. Eventually, the man died of HIV. Wow. Meaning that's what this lecturer was spreading to students who were not bold enough to stand their ground and say no. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for sharing that, Ijomal Melga. Then Dover Foundation asked the question, how do you determine which of the talents to pay more attention to when it comes to schooling? When it comes to schooling it, just as the realist said earlier. So maybe C, strategies, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so just quickly because of time, in my notes, I had said that I may be turning between being a media practitioner or a lawyer, and that happened to me. So how did I choose? The truth is, you need to be open-minded to know that you prioritize. Okay, I could study law, I could study mass comm, I could study English, I could study literature studies. Now, if you're in Nigeria, you will know that your choice of course for the university could be, number one, your desire. You might have to battle your parents' choice, and then you might put in for what you want. SSC, that's the subjects you've gotten. You need to make sure you have those subjects enough for admission. You need to get the cutoff for JAM, the entry level requirements. So the way I will answer this is, open up your mind, prioritize according to what you think is your highest passion. And one way to do this is to go through what I call the personality test. So if you look at 16personalities.com, when you do the personality test, they can tell you what kind of careers your personality fits into. And of course, the number one person really you should go to is God, because he makes things clearer. So you look at your talent, you look at really the future of work, that by the time I graduate in 4 or 5 years' time, which of these can earn me money? Because guess what? When you follow talent and passion, you also need to know that whatever you're doing should be something that can earn you some money to live your life. Because you can study something that will get you to earn, and what you earn can now fund the other passions you have. Do you understand? So I love to write, I love to sing, I love to do other things. But I mean, I studied law, and now I can fund other things I think I want to do because I've studied a course and I have a good job that's earning me money. So I'll just finally say that do not dump anyone. Prioritize the one that can get you good grades in school and a good job afterwards. Then pace and phase your life. So you can actually put the gifts and talents in phases. There are some that require a degree to pursue. There are some that don't require degrees. There's so many professional courses around. Okay, for instance, Karachi is a voiceover artist. I am one as well. I just did a course, which was just 5 days. Some people will go throughout the university to go and do that, voice acting and theater arts. But I'm just saying that when you make a decision, look for the one that requires a degree to scale up with. Then study that one, also considering your passion and what you think you can do to get good grades. Consider what subjects you've done well in secondary school and what opportunities there will be in the future of work. I hope I've been able to answer, because of time.
Yes, I think you've done very profound. You've really hit that nail on the head. Thank you so much, See the Strategist. If I could just add one more thing, I'll just probably say, the good book says there was one that was given 5 and he added 5 more. So God is not even looking at that you only develop the ones you have. He's expecting that you get more. And as a woman, there shouldn't be any woman that shouldn't have at least 4 sources of income per time, at least 4. So if you know you can do this like what you were saying, focus on one, study one, but also develop the others at different stages and phases of your life. Thank you so much, C. And time is against us. There's so much to talk about. Shola Odende is saluting you, Casey the realist. She said present realist, and then she raised her hand up with a smiley face. So Shola, it's good to have you here. Finally, as a round off tonight, what are the things you can condense from your notes to your younger self? Because this is like a research. If I talk to my younger self and I find out the things I did well and the things I didn't do too well, and then you do the same thing and we all do the same thing, if there are common threads and themes across the 5, then we have hit a eureka moment. It's a strategy. It's a sure, tested, tried principle that everyone should live by. So very quickly, because of time, please do not expatiate, because all of us here, we can talk. Please just mention the points one at a time, kind of like bullet points. I would rather call them wisdom nuggets. So what are the wisdom nuggets from your notes to your younger self? Just in the same way I've been doing it, I'm going to start from Prof. Prof, over to you.
Okay, what I'll say is that it's good to have a map to guide, but it's better to have a guide in life. It's good to have a map to guide you, but it's better to have a guide. And if you have that guide in your life, the instructions are clearer, the picture is clearer, and the path is better.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Moving on to the second person, Casey. All right, I think I'll come back to Casey. Casey, can you hear me? Okay, I'll come back to Casey. Moving on to Ada. Ada, what are your nuggets?
My nuggets would just be that there's a depth of strength in each one of us that we do not know. And it takes pressure and challenges to pull it out. So when tough times come, know that you can go through it. Like the book is titled, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do.
Thank you very, very much. C.
Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Proverbs 3:5, that's one of my favorite scriptures. You just need to trust God and obey, one step after the other, and you'll be fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then I think mine will just be audience of one. Do everything for the audience of one. And that one person is your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He's the one you need to impress. He's the one you need to do everything as unto him. And when you do that, you're safe, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm still waiting. If Casey comes back on time, then she'll give us what her one word is. But thank you so much, everybody, for sharing out of your belly. And I trust that rivers of living water have flowed tonight in the powder room. We have cried. We have cleaned our pancake. I hope it's looking okay. And then we put the smile back on. And remember what I said, the powder room is that one place where you can let your hair down, make a mess of your face, but then remember, you need to put it all back together again and face the world with truth, tact, and tenacity. Now, next week, you would not want to miss it. Next week, we're doing a relationship audit. Relationship audit. Let's audit. Let's find out where we are. I know if we tell some people that we're doing relationship audits, they will run for their lives. But we're doing relationship. Let's grade ourselves and see how we're doing in certain, areas of our relationship. Of course, you know what we do here. We do not condemn. There is no news we can hear that will ever lead to condemnation. Rather, we talk, we advise, we give ourselves real talk, real advice, and then we all move on, and become better people. KC Realist is back. What was your 1 point? What's the one thing?
Were you looking for me?
I was looking for you.
Data is the new oil, my dear sister. I don't know what's going on. The way we consume data now. In fact, the gadgets have a wheel. They come on and off at will. So sorry about that. So sorry, viewers, too. So the 1 point I will extract, the foundation of it all is spirituality. For me, it started pretty early, very early, very, very early. You said we shouldn't explain, right? We shouldn't explain.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. Right? So just spirituality.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Casey. And you see, it's the same thing I've talked. If you check what everybody has said, it all boils down to one thing. Actually, it all boils down to one person. Actually, it all boils down to one relationship. And we hope you have that person and you have that relationship in your life. That's the one person that is your guide. That's the one person that you trust and obey. That's the one person. What did Ada say again? What was Ada's points?
I said tough times never last.
Yes. But tough people do. That's the one. That's the tension. That's the backbone for everyone that wants to be tough. And like Casey said, that one God factor. So thank you so much, everybody. Don't forget to make it a date with us next week as we're doing a relationship audit. And please do not come alone. Come with your friends.
Spread the word.
Yes, spread the word. Do the adverts with us.
Talk about
two kinds of gospel. There's go and tell. There's come and see. So you can tell your come and see. Come to the powder room. Come. Let's sit down.
Come and hear.
Thank you so much, Dove Foundation. I'm glad I spent my night with you all. I was so glad we spent the night with you, Dove. And thank you, Amaka Itwen. She said, beautiful conversation, really enriching. And Shola Odende is just laughing up and down like someone that's eating dinner. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been awesome having you tonight. And from the rest of us at the powder room, it's good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you.
Yes, we do.
Good night.
God made you beautiful. Said it in His word that you were beautiful. And you were going places that you never dreamed. Said that you're the emotions.